Welcome back to part 2 of the series that we have where we asked ministers what they wish they knew before starting their ministry. So we are glad to have 2 pastors on this video today. If you haven't watched the first part, feel free to click the link. In that episode, we had 3 pastors. It was a great video, so we're happy to have 2 more. If you would like to be a part of it, if you've been in ministry and you want to give us your advice, feel free, let us know, and we'll let you know how to send that to us.
All right, and so first up is actually my childhood pastor. It's actually a pastor of the church that I actually grew up in, which is New Life Community Church in Woodland. Whoop, whoop. So Pastor John Gallegos, he's really ministered into my family's life just throughout our early years. So let's go ahead and see what he wishes he knew when he started ministry.
Congrats, Pastor Hector, on the new podcast, and I'm excited to share what a great question that you've asked of ministers. What do I wish I knew when I first started that I know now? After several years of ministry, I'd have to say that I've learned that people remember your service more than your sermon, right? But what do I mean by that? People are impacted by your service to them as a shepherd, as a pastor. And while I do not want to downplay preaching or teaching, when I first started ministry, I thought, an awesome sermon or an awesome teaching is what people really need. And although that is a very important part of ministry, I would have to say that the most important part of ministry as a shepherd is that the sheep know how much you care. They don't necessarily care how much you know. It's the visits to the hospital. It's the text that you send to say you're praying for someone. It's sending a card or sending a text now, remembering that people have lost a loved one during the previous year, and they're going through the holidays, without that person. So I would have to say it's people don't necessarily remember the sermons, but they do and are impacted by your service and love to them as a pastor to their sheep. God bless.
All right, so thank you very much for that video, Pastor Gallegos. That was really, really great and impactful, because from the members' standpoint that I come from, I can relate a lot to that, because one of the most impactful things for me was like you said, like visiting somebody sick. For me, one time when I had my appendix surgery, I remember the first thing when I woke up, I saw the pastor from my old church, and at first I was like, am I dead? Or what is this? What?
And did you die too?
Am I in heaven or what? But no, I woke up and he was the first person I saw, and it meant a lot because I didn't really know a lot of people knew about me going to the hospital.
How old were you?
I was probably 16.
Okay.
So I went after school, so it was just kind of happened fast, and then waking up and then seeing him, I was like, oh wow. And then to this day, there's a lot that I don't remember of the sermons and stuff, but that's something that always stuck with me even till now. As I was listening to it, that popped up in my head, and it meant a lot, and it still does. So that was really great.
From a pastor standpoint, I think that even if you see it the way Jesus did, Jesus did a lot of teaching. But one of the biggest things that he did is that he always had his disciples with him.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, it's because if I'm going to show you or teach you how to heal someone, how to love on someone that they're about to throw stones at, how to, pray over something or someone, if I'm going to show you, I'm not just going to sit here and teach you how to do it. I want to show you. And this is actually the Jewish way of doing things. It's let me take you along with me, and I will show you how to do it, how to love on people. I'm going to show you how to feed people. I'm going to show you how to meet their needs. So it is very important for even a leader or a minister standpoint to invest that time in wanting to show people who Jesus is, not just teach them who Jesus is.
Mm-hmm. So the next one that we have is Pastor Esly from Motion Church. He is the pastor there, and he is a fellow subscriber too. He let us know that he enjoys our video, so we are very thankful for that, and we're glad that it's impacting people around where we are, and maybe other people too. So let's get into that video now.
All right.
Hey, what's going on, my friends over at The Forged Citizen? My name is Pastor Esly. I'm the lead pastor over at Motion Church, and let me just start off by saying this. I am super encouraged by what you guys are doing over at the Forged Citizen podcast. I think that it's going to equip a lot of saints. I think it's going to give resources to people who have a lot of questions. And so I'm going to be praying for you guys in this season. I watched every episode so far. I'm a fan. I'm subscribed. And so, hey, we love you over at Motion Church. So keep going, keep pushing. I'm proud of you guys. On the premise of your question, what advice would I give my younger self? Look, I'm a really simple guy. I like taking things from the complex to the very, very simple. And for me, it's this. It would be patient. It would be authentic and be consistent. Be patient because throughout your ministry journey, you're going to encounter a lot of difficulties. You're going to encounter a lot of challenges. But in that, when you build patience, your character develops to learn and wait on God. I think learning to wait is crucial. I think that you got to be authentic when you're waiting. I think that you should wait diligently. And I know that sounds weird, but this is what I mean by that. I think that waiting diligently means showing people. It means leading by example. It means waiting in a way that expects. I live in an expectant manner. I live expecting God to do things. I know I have to wait for it. I already know that. I know that I have to be patient. So while I'm waiting, I want to be real and authentic. I want to be transparent in how I'm waiting, in why I'm waiting, in my hopefulness for what I'm waiting for in ministry, in my journey with God as I start or as I'm in ministry, right? I want to wait diligently and lead by example and know that I got the hope of Jesus, that though I can't see it yet, that though my ministry doesn't look like how I want it to look like yet, by faith, by the conviction in my heart, by the Holy Spirit, I know it to come. I know it will come and it'll come to pass. And lastly, being consistent. I want to be consistently hopeful. I want to be consistently serving. I want to be consistent in the small things, right? And look, it's easy. It starts like this. Be consistent in your tithes. Be consistent in your punctuality. Be consistent in your responsibilities, right? Don't make excuses. Find a way to avoid excuses. That was one of my biggest issues, was making excuses because I felt like I was ill prepared. I wasn't equipped. However, when you go in head on, trusting God, even though it may be difficult, a lot of people say winging it. I'm a little spontaneous in that sense, but I trust God. I trust him with what I have. You can't trust God with something you don't have. You trust God with what you do. And so you work with the church that you have. You work with the people that are in front of you. I want to finish off by saying this. Paul says this, right? He says, I fought the good fight and I finished the race. He doesn't say I got first place. He doesn't say I was the fastest. No, he emphasizes that he fought it out and that he finished. I want to finish good. I want to finish good. And finishing is a long run, my friend. So in it, I have to be patient. In it, I have to be authentic. And in it, I got to make sure that I'm consistent. Love you guys. I hope to hear from you soon.
All right, Brother Esly, thank you so much for that word. Man, if you were here, I'd give you a hug. So let's just do a virtual hug because I know you're watching. All right, that's good. That's
COVID.
6 feet away. Just kidding. So, awesome, bro. I can totally relate to many of the nuggets that you said during your video there. But I think that one of the things that really spoke to me the most would probably be in relation to when I started worship ministry. I became a worship leader many years ago. When we actually launched this church where we're at now, Visión Espiritual, I actually defaulted to be the worship leader. I started off by just having my own personal little keyboard that I would play. It would have beats like most of your typical keyboards do. So I would find my beat that I want to use. I'd find the tempo and press play, and then you get the beat, and then I would just play, and that would be worship. That was my worship team. My worship team was all digital. I was ahead of the game with all this digital stuff. Now I had my own digital band, and
Shout out Casio.
I was at Yamaha. Actually,
Oh.
not a sponsor. And it's crazy because I knew that that was not going to be a place I was going to be stuck in. And my vision for what the worship team was going to be, look like, sound like, was not that. And I had to be patient with the process. I had to be patient with the fact that God was going to provide from the midst of our people, from the midst of the people that were going to come to church eventually. You know, a drummer, a guitar player, you know, even for a time, a saxophone player, vocals, you know, a sound engineer, a media person. I had a vision, but at that point, it was just me by myself. You know, I think my wife, sorry, shout out to my wife. She was there too. But early on, I didn't even have a mic stand early on. And my wife, thank God she's short, was standing next to me. And she was standing next to me singing. And then with this hand, she was doing this, holding my mic as I was leading worship. And so that's not the ultimate picture of what worship was going to look like for me when I started that ministry. So I just had to be patient. I knew I was going to be stuck there. It may take months. It may even take a couple of years. But I knew that eventually we would become a team. And I thank God because we did.
The thing is, like, patience is key. Paul said that he fought the good fight and he finished the race. So it's a long game. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Amen.
You know, being patient, going through the marathon, that is life. The thing that stuck with me too is, so fought the good fight and finished the race, but also being authentic. So that can also go hand in hand, because you're fighting the good fight, you finish the race, but in the end you still remain authentic. A lot of times, you know, as a Christian or as, you know, as a leader or pastor, you try to fit, you can try to get into that mentality where you're trying to fit a demographic, be a certain type of pastor, you know, but remaining authentic is what is best and is drawn more to people. Nobody wants to, you know, listen to a pastor that is trying to be like a different one. Same as nobody wants to listen to a singer that's trying to imitate a different, you know,
True
artist.
that.
So, you know, remaining authentic, being yourself, because people are going to stick around more with your authenticity and with who you are really than if you're trying to imitate somebody else.
I agree with that. So thank you guys so much for joining us for this video. Again, if you did not see part 1, go ahead and click on the link, as well as in the description. You'll be able to link to the video there. Thanks so much for joining us. We believe that we're actually going to have a part 3, maybe even a part 4 to this series. We may even have a Spanish episode as well, because we have a lot of pastors that want to chime in that are Spanish speaking. So we want to definitely help out our Latinos that are in ministry as well. We have not forgotten about you guys.
One thing that we wanted to say is, this is not only for pastors. We do love getting the input of pastors, but we do also want to hear from people who have been in any sort of ministry, whether it's kids ministry, youth ministry, any ministry that you can, you know, that you want to provide information on or advice. Please let us know, and we'd be happy to, you know, make a video about it.
Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and hit like. Help us out. All right. God bless you guys. Take care.
Have a good one.
Bye.